The colors of success. The story began long before the fame, the business empires, and the political power. It began in a small town, in a small preschool where three unlikely friends first met. Ethan, Maya, and Oliver, though different in many ways, shared a bond that would shape the rest of their lives. Ethan was the dreamer, always sketching little pictures of animals, dragons, and other fantastical creatures. His wild blonde hair and constantly smudged hands from charcoal and paint made him stand out. Maya was the leader, even at the age of 5. She would organize the group into little teams, giving directions with the confidence of someone far older. She had a quick wit, a sharp tongue, and a heart that always seemed to be looking out for others. Then there was Oliver. Quiet, observant, and methodical, he always saw things a little differently than his friends. While Ethan loved to paint and Maya loved to talk, Oliver would often watch in silence, contemplating the world. He wasn't a talker, but when he did speak, his words were wise beyond his years. The three of them spent endless hours together in the preschool playground, building imaginary castles, creating small businesses with makeshift stores, and organizing games that involved strategy and diplomacy. Ethan was the artist, Maya the negotiator, and Oliver the planner. Together, they formed an unstoppable team, each playing to their strengths and learning to rely on the other. They were inseparable, and even at that early age, they could feel something special about their friendship. It wasn't just that they shared their childhoods together, it was that they saw in each other the potential for greatness. They recognized something in one another that was unique and rare, and they clung to that bond. As they grew, so did their aspirations, and while the world would change around them, their friendship would remain the same. As the years passed, their individual talents began to develop in ways that none of them could have anticipated. By the time they entered high school, it became clear that their paths would soon diverge, each heading toward a different form of success. But despite the differences in their pursuits, their friendship remained a constant. Ethan, the artist, was known for his eccentricity. His locker was adorned with sketches, his notebooks filled with paintings, and his mind constantly raced with new ideas. He had always been drawn to the beauty of the world, the way light hit the leaves, the curve of a person's smile, the way the colors of the sunset bled into one another. By the time he was 16, he had already won local art competitions, and the whispers about his talent began to spread. But Ethan never cared about fame. He painted because he had to, because the world inside his head demanded to be shared. Still, there was a part of him that yearned for more than just accolades. He longed for the kind of recognition that would place him in the annals of art history. Yet, he sometimes wondered if that was ever possible. Maya, on the other hand, was a force of nature. She had always been outspoken, and as a teenager, she began to hone her public speaking skills, leading debates and running for student government. She was ambitious and determined, and it was clear to everyone who knew her that politics was her calling. Her mind was sharp, and her passion for justice was unmatched. By the time she graduated high school, she had already interned with local politicians, and her eyes were set on a future in law and governance. She had big dreams of one day being a senator, perhaps even the president of the United States. Maya didn't just want to succeed, she wanted to change the world. Oliver, ever the quiet one, had developed a keen mind for business. He spent hours after school reading about stock markets, technology, and economics. While his friends created art or debated in student government, Oliver was calculating his next move in a game that only he truly understood. He started small, flipping items online, selling things on the side, and eventually, his skills caught the attention of local investors. By the time they graduated high school, Oliver had founded his first startup. It wasn't much at first, but he had a vision. He knew that the key to success was not just working hard, but working smart. While their individual paths were clearly diverging, there was an unspoken understanding between the three of them. They were all destined for greatness. However, this understanding was slowly being overshadowed by the rising pressure to succeed in their own fields. Their friendship, once an effortless bond, was beginning to feel the strain of their ambitions. The jealousy they never spoke of was starting to seep through the cracks. As time went on, each of them achieved levels of success that were nothing short of extraordinary. Ethan's art became internationally recognized. His paintings sold for millions of dollars, and his work was featured in galleries around the world. But with his fame came the pressure to continue creating, to live up to the hype. He found himself torn between the joy of creating and the fear of failure. The more successful he became, the more he began to doubt whether his art was truly meaningful or just a fleeting moment of brilliance. Maya, too, was climbing the ladder of success. By the age of 30, she was already a well-respected congresswoman, known for her work on education and healthcare reform. She was seen as a rising star in the political world, her speeches inspiring millions. But the higher she rose, the more she felt isolated. There were always compromises to be made, alliances to be forged, and decisions that didn't align with her values. She began to wonder if the price of power was too high, and whether she would ever truly be able to change the world in the way she had imagined as a young girl. Even with all the accolades, Maya was beginning to feel that something was missing. Oliver's business empire had grown into a global juggernaut. He was now one of the wealthiest men in the world, his name synonymous with success. But with wealth came its own set of challenges. Oliver found himself constantly on the move, attending meetings, signing deals, and managing a sprawling empire. He had everything money could buy, yet he couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. Despite his success, he felt increasingly isolated, surrounded by people who wanted something from him. He longed for the days when life was simpler, when his friends were just a phone call away. The trio continued to meet, but the distance between them seemed to grow with each passing year. Ethan would brag about his latest exhibition, Maya would share the details of her latest political campaign, and Oliver would recount his latest business deal. But beneath the surface, each of them secretly wished they could have a piece of what the others had. Ethan envied Maya's ability to speak and inspire, Maya envied Ethan's creative freedom, and Oliver envied their ability to create something that would outlast them. Their friendship, while still intact, had begun to show signs of wear. The jealousy they had never acknowledged was slowly consuming them, and it was becoming harder to ignore. What had once been a source of joy and camaraderie had become a reminder of their individual insecurities. One evening, after a particularly tense dinner at Oliver's penthouse, the three of them found themselves alone on the rooftop, staring out over the city. The view was breathtaking, lights twinkling in the distance, the skyline a testament to the wealth and success that surrounded them. But despite their achievements, none of them could shake the feeling that something was missing. Ethan was the first to speak. "I've been thinking," he said, his voice low, "I've got all the success I ever wanted. But I'm not happy. There's this emptiness inside me that I can't shake." Maya, ever the empath, looked at him with concern. "I know how you feel. I've been wondering if this political game is even worth it anymore. I've passed laws, I've fought for the people, but at what cost? I can never seem to be enough for everyone." Oliver sighed, his usual calm demeanor cracking for a moment. "You think that's bad? I have everything money can buy, but I've never felt more alone. I'm surrounded by people who only care about my success, not about me." The three of them sat in silence, each of them wrestling with their own feelings of inadequacy. They had everything the world could offer: the fame, power, wealth, but none of it had brought them the peace they had hoped for. For the first time in years, they talked openly about their fears, their jealousy, and their doubts. They acknowledged the unspoken tension that had been building between them, each of them confessing that they had, at times, resented the success of the others. It was a difficult conversation, but one that needed to happen. The conversation that night marked a turning point in their friendship. They realized that their jealousy was born not from a desire to take away what the others had, but from their own insecurities. Each of them was striving for something that they thought the others had, but in reality, they all faced their own struggles and challenges. Ethan realized that his art wasn't just about fame, it was about expression. He needed to find joy in the process, not the outcome. Maya recognized that her political career wasn't about pleasing everyone, it was about staying true to her values, even when it was hard. Oliver came to understand that true wealth wasn't just about money, it was about meaningful relationships and personal fulfillment. The trio made a pact that night, a pact to be there for one another, not just as colleagues or friends, but as people who understood each other's struggles. They vowed to stop comparing themselves to each other and to support each other through their respective challenges. No longer would jealousy be the silent force driving their actions, instead, they would lean on each other for strength. In the years that followed, their friendship became even stronger. They still faced the pressures of their respective careers, but now they did so with a sense of camaraderie that transcended their individual success. Ethan continued to paint, but he did so with a renewed sense of purpose, finding joy in the act of creation itself. Maya remained a prominent figure in politics, but she learned to say no to the demands that didn't align with her values. Oliver grew his business even further, but he made time for his friends, cherishing the moments when they could simply be together without the weight of the world on their shoulders. Their lives were still filled with accomplishments, but now they understood that true success wasn't about what they had achieved, it was about the relationships they had built and the people they had become. Together, they had weathered the storms of jealousy, insecurity, and ambition. And in the end, it was their friendship that remained their greatest success.